Hello, hello, my lovely, beautiful Cancers. Welcome back to your reading for March 25th through April, I almost said February, April 7th. On March 25th, we have the Libra full moon happening, so you will have some full moon energy happening for you on the 25th. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we got week 1. Let's do week 2. Oh, wow, Cancer. Oh, okay. Cancer, literally almost your entire second week here is major arcana cards. So there is some big stuff happening for you starting on April 1st. There's a lot of stuff. We'll get into it. We'll figure out exactly what's going on. I wanted to do something a little bit different today because I did a video recently on my favorite decks. And so I really want to just pull like 1 or 2, maybe 3 of these spirit animal oracle cards here for you because I just think they're neat. And I haven't done a reading with them in it. We'll see if I like it, and if not, I'll never have to do it again, right? Okay, so Cancer. Let's talk about your 3 oracle cards first because I feel like they're going to help color the rest of this reading here for you. So your very first oracle card is the White Raven Spirit, which says, trust in the magic. Then you have the Sandpiper Spirit, which says, be playful. And then lastly, you have your third card here, the Groundhog Spirit, which says, time to let go. So Cancer, there is a lot of big changes going on for you. Trusting in the magic of the universe, letting go of your expectations of how something should look, allowing things to just flow. The Sandpiper Spirit says be playful. And in this flow, sometimes we have this way where when we're trying to surrender to the path ahead or we're trying to surrender to the wisdom of spirit, we can end up like holding on too tightly. And when we let go, it's almost as if sometimes we do it out of like a, well, fine, anyway, kind of thing. So it's letting go. Sometimes letting go and allowing things to happen looks different for different times. And I think this one is not just letting go and, hoping that things turn out well. I think part of your cycle here, Cancer, part of your lesson that you're learning right now is to allow yourself to be playful. You can let things go, and instead of sitting and stressing about all the ways that things could go wrong or all the ways that things, oh God.
I really hope my audio doesn't sound horrible because I realized I just forgot to turn on my mic on the computer over here, and I just have my little teeny tiny mic clipped to my belt down here, so I don't actually know if the first half of this video is going to sound any good. Hopefully it does. Trusting in the magic, being playful, letting go. That's your spirit animal oracle messages. Allowing things to flow, even if it's outside of your control. Being playful in the moment, not just letting things go because you're trying to, release in a way that's like, I don't know, there's sometimes a resentful way that people release, Like we let go, but we still sit and we think and we ruminate over it. We tell ourselves that we're allowing spirit to work. We tell ourselves that I'm trusting, but we check in constantly, right? We say that we're trusting, but we find ourselves obsessed with seeing the outcome of this action or seeing the result of it. Or we sit and we're like tapping our watch, waiting for things to happen. And I feel like you just have to allow yourself to be playful, and time flies when you're having fun, right? So this thing that you want, Cancer, this releasing that you have to do, you have to trust in the magic with this White Raven Spirit. You have to trust in the magic around you, that you are being led to good things, and that, being playful, allowing time to move on the way is really going to get you there a lot faster. A watched pot never boils. And so, Cancer, don't be watching your pot. Don't be ruminating too hard on wanting this result. Now looking at your tarot here for the next 2 weeks, Cancer, you actually have like one of the better readings that I've seen so far. So I feel like Cancer, you are on the up and up. You are moving into some positive new energy here. As we said, on March 25th, on your Monday, your first card of the week, you have the Ten of Cups. So I'm not really surprised to see this here for you, Cancer, because the moon is the luminary that rules Cancer. And so, full moon energy is usually very vibrant or energizing for Cancer people. And seeing the Ten of Cups, seeing this, brightness, this energy around you, I'm really not surprised to see it, in a positive space for you on the 25th. The Ten of Cups is fullness of the heart, fullness of the emotions, allowing yourself to feel everything. And it's also an interconnectedness with spirit, right? When we look at this card, it's actually like, it's almost kind of mirrored, at least in this deck that I'm using today, which is the Mystic Mondays deck. It's always linked in the description if you guys want to take a look. But yeah, in this deck, right, the World card is very, very similar to this Ten of Cups card. And this Ten of Cups is, it's a culmination of energy. It brings us to bliss state, allowing ourselves to flow in happiness and connectedness with family, friends, loved ones, and just, being in good, vibrant energy. What's really interesting about your reading, though, Cancer, is that your very next card on Tuesday is the Ace of Cups in reverse. So these are both, we go from the 10 in the upright to the Ace in the reverse right after each other. It's very, very interesting to me that we go from, such a high point energy-wise, such a, vibrant upper point to this lower state right after. So some of you may find that the day after you're feeling very exhausted or very overwhelmed. The Ace of Cups in reverse is just not feeling connected with your spirit, not feeling connected with love energy and the things that fill you up, right? So you may feel very low energy, low vibe on the following Tuesday. And I feel like what happens is that, sometimes we end up in this like bliss state and we can overexert ourselves, we can overextend ourselves past what we are capable of at a given time because we're feeling good in the moment. We can overpromise what we want to do. And then the very next day we find that our energy is just drained because we spent it all, the day before. So Cancer, I would just caution you to not overdo it on that full moon, even though it is a fun, lovely culmination of energy and things like that. Ace of Cups is also inspiration. It's also our intuition, It's our energetic body. It's not our physical body as much as it is our energetic body. So, as I said, try not to overdo it on that full moon. Your very next card following that Ace of Cups in reverse is the Death card for Wednesday. So you have this energy of duality happening here. You have that upright of the Ten of Cups on Monday, followed by the reverse for the Ace of Cups on Tuesday. So you have two separate energies existing at the same time. And followed by the Death card. So something here is coming to an end for you. Something within your emotional realm has been flipped upside down. I mean, quite literally with that Ace of Cups in reverse. Something has been flipped upside down. Things are not going to plan the way that you wanted them to. And the Death card is here to remind you to let go. I mean, we even had that groundhog spirit, time to let go. This Death card is the letting go. This is the moment in which you have to let something go. Because it's no longer there for you. It's no longer within your vibe or your energy. And, we outgrow things a lot of the times. We outgrow places, people, habits, things like that. And we can hold on to them because they're familiar to us. And we, think that we have a handle on understanding how to navigate this. And in reality, it can often be stuff that brings us down or drains us energetically. You guys will have to excuse my wet hair. I took a shower today. I really don't want to, I really don't like filming with wet hair because it just looks weird. But I needed to get this reading done. So, let's keep going. Followed by the Death card on Wednesday, you have the Eight of Wands in reverse on Thursday. The Eight of Wands in reverse says that you feel as though stuff is not happening as fast for you as you would like. This also can sometimes be... I actually feel like this might almost be like the opposite energy. Not necessarily that stuff is not happening fast enough, which is what normally this card is. Normally this card is like wanting something and things just not happening. I feel like for you, Cancer, this is that energy that we were talking about of wanting things to happen faster and having it not happening fast enough. It can also, since this follows the Death card, this can also mean that you're expecting change to happen a lot more rapidly than what is going to happen. Time to let go. Time to let go of your expectation about how fast this thing is going to take, how quickly you're going to reach this point. For a very few people within this reading, Cancer, I almost feel as though this has like an addiction quality. 10 of Cups in that very heightened emotional state, followed by the Ace of Cups, followed by the Death, not wanting to engage in this low vibration anymore, not wanting to engage with this addiction or this substance at this time, knowing that maybe, this thing is not good for you, expecting change and wanting to change, and, wanting your recovery to be a lot faster. So some of you, that is what is happening. Very few of you, I feel like that's a very specific message for some of you, that this is kind of like an addiction cycle. But we can have addiction cycles about more than just, drugs or alcohol and other substances, right? We can have addiction cycles on, bad shopping habits. We can have addiction cycles on engaging in toxic media or in toxic relationships, doom scrolling on the phones, right? This is all addiction cycles, and some are more severe than others, of course. But, I feel like a lot of you, this thing keeps happening to you, and it keeps, hurting your heart and hurting you emotionally. And you want it to stop, and you want it to happen fast, but you aren't necessarily reaching this goal of it at this point. It's like an unrealistic expectation about how fast it should be occurring. Let's keep going. On your Friday here, it's followed by the Ace of Swords. So you went from the Eight of Wands in reverse to the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is finding new willpower. So if you are struggling with some addiction issues, if you are struggling with some sort of cycle of, toxicity happening here, the Ace of Swords is a renewing of your willpower. It's a renewing of your drive to get this thing done, to cut it out of your life. This sword is literally the sword that is used to cut something out. So cutting this thing out of your life, this person, this toxic cycle, this could even be like a mind cycle. A lot of times we get addicted to our own thought patterns. We get addicted to our own toxic mind cycle of thinking the same hurtful things over and over again. And so the Ace of Swords is a renewing of your willpower. It's you saying, I really mean it this time. I am actually going to see this thing through. I'm going to make this change because I deserve to live in a place where I am healthy and safe and content. This is a renewing of your willpower to cut this crap out of your life. You have the Princess of Pentacles in reverse on Saturday. This is about the planting of your intentions. The Princess of Pentacles is someone who is looking for a place to plant this seed, the seed that she is holding of the pentacle. And oftentimes this means trying to find a place to plant, it's a pentacle, so a lot of times this is associated with money. But I feel like a lot of you, you need to prepare your land better. You need to prepare yourself better. It does no good to plant a seed of growth and change in the same place where you have been trodden on, where you have been, left in the dirt, in the mud, and trampled on, you know? So I think a lot of you need to get to work on preparing your garden, preparing your space. And like some of you, you know, that can maybe be like an actual physical garden. Some of you may hear me say that and be like, oh yeah, I need to go do my gardening because it's spring now. But I feel like for most of you, this is the garden of the soul, the garden of the mind and the soul. With addiction cycles and with these things that we are struggling with, right? It is hard you can't change something without changing your environment. A lot of you are going to have to change your actual environment around you. And depending on what it is that you are struggling with, this cycle that you're dealing with, depending on what it is, will determine what it is that you need to prepare. Some of you, this means that you need to prepare your mind for the releasing of this thing. Some of you are going to need to prepare your body or your emotional space. Some of you are going to need to prepare your actual physical space by removing, you know, these toxic substances from your area. You're going to need to prepare your space. You're going to need to prepare the ground that you are working on to plant this intention. So if your intention is to redo and remake your mental patterns, right? If you've been thinking toxic thoughts towards yourself and you have the intention of reviewing and renovating the way that you have been talking to yourself within your mind, then this is preparing the ground, making sure that you have affirmations in place, that you have a plan in place for what happens when you do receive these negative or toxic thoughts. Reciprocal, thinking the opposite. So when you come up against, you know, a negative thought that tells you I'm not good enough, I'm not special enough, thinking the opposite, allowing yourself to say I am good enough, I am special, I bring a lot to the table. Making sure that you have plans and things in place, that you're preparing the ground by working on the things around you and nurturing the things that you do want to grow. So the Princess of Pentacles in reverse, you gotta work the ground, work the soil so that you can plant that seed of intention. On Sunday for week 1, ending week 1 here, you have the Knight of Cups. And this is actually a very positive, emotional thing happening for you. So that's so vague. That's so vague. Let me rephrase that. So the Knight of Cups, sometimes this is a person who can come into your life and help you with this. So some of you, this could be a friend or a close family member or someone within your life who is able to support you in this endeavor. I feel like on this Sunday, someone is going to come in and say just the right thing you need to hear. So if you are feeling discouraged on this journey, if you are feeling discouraged about moving along through this, you know, revamping, reintegration with yourself, taking these toxic things out of your life, it can be very discouraging if you find that, especially in the case of like, if this is someone with active addiction, you know, finding yourself relapsing. But I feel like this is that support person in your life who believes in you, who trusts you, and, you know, tells you just the right thing that you need to hear to help you feel like I actually can do this. The person that believes in you, that says, yeah, I got your back. I know you can do this. You are so smart and brave and kind, and you have the ability to do this. And it's not about this person doing it for you either. It's about you doing it yourself, taking care of yourself. But this person is your support person, your person that comes in and just helps you feel good about yourself. You actually have all 4 suits after the Death card. You have the Wand, the Sword, the Pentacle, and the Cup. So that encompasses all aspects of the self. The Wands is our motivation, our ability to do this. Our Sword is our willpower, our thinking and our thoughts, the way that we are evaluating and approaching this within the mind. Pentacles is our physical items within our reality. So what am I doing physically to support myself at this time? And the cups is our emotions. So having things emotionally supporting you in your heart, in your soul, just feeling good, feeling supported. So that is week 1 for you, Cancer. Things are looking really good, working and building on stuff. Let's talk about week 2 here. So on Monday, week 2, this is actually kind of fun to me because this is April 1st. And you start with the Fool on April 1st. So, April Fool's Day, and you have the Fool card. I think that that's pretty fun. But I also think that this is just you, this is you doubling down on that energy for yourself. Allowing yourself this clean start, this fresh slate, so that you can move into a new life for yourself and have a new reality. Hi. Oh, hi, sweet girl. The Fool card. This is beginning a journey, allowing yourself the freedom of expression along the way, allowing yourself the freedom to be a beginner. When we start things, I think a lot of times people are afraid of making mistakes, but that's all part of the learning process, and you don't know and you won't know until you get started, until you start taking those first steps. So the Fool card is allowing yourself to be a beginner in this space, not holding yourself to a place of insane expectations, right? And it's also a sense of freedom. Moving into this new space, moving into this new opportunity for yourself. I think some of you have set the intention that April is going to be different for you. The month of April is going to be a fresh start. I think some of you are even saying on the 1st of April, I'm going to start this new thing. I'm going to do something different. So starting a new journey, starting a new opportunity for yourself. And I don't know if you remember me saying from the very beginning, but you have all of these major arcana cards. You have the Fool, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana cards, 6 including this. So some of you are starting this new journey, allowing yourself to do something different, allowing yourself the freedom to be a beginner. Be playful with that sandpiper spirit. Be playful. That is really what the Fool, the Fool does have a very playful energy. If you look at the card there, you can see that this person's like dancing and allowing themselves to walk along and walk forward through this thing. So allowing yourself to be playful in this experience, allowing yourself, don't punish yourself. Allow yourself the opportunity to feel good and feel content in a healthy way, right? In a new space. Your card on Tuesday for week 2 is the Hierophant in reverse. And the Hierophant in reverse, this is a person who is doing something outside of the norm. So Cancer, you are doing something very different here. You are changing and moving outside of the realm of what everybody else does. This is tradition. This is the way that things have always been done. And Cancer, you are looking at a new way to do things. This is doing things outside the realm of tradition. This is allowing yourself to do something different, dream a dream, and move in a path that nobody has been through before. Some of you, I think, if this thing that you're wanting to get rid of or cut out of your life is something that has been around for a while, I think a lot of people within your life are not going to understand why you are making this change or understand your reason behind making this change. But I think that there is a change happening, and a lot of you are doing something so completely different that people just won't understand. But Cancer, it's not about what other people think. It's not about you making sure to justify yourself to all of these people, because they don't have to get it. They don't have to understand. What matters the most is that you understand what you are doing, that you understand your why behind this change, and that you own it, that you are making this change for you, that you don't care. Because if your reason behind it is true, if your reason behind it is honorable and good, then Who cares? Why does it matter the opinion of others? Why does it matter what they think about what you're doing? If you know and your justification for it is pure, then nothing can sway you off of this path, not even the opinions or expectations of others or society as a whole. Your next card here on Wednesday for week 2 is Temperance in reverse. So, when I see this card, this is an unbalancing of energy, an unbalancing of where you are putting your energy. Temperance has a sense of discernment about it, knowing how much to put in. How much can I change? How much can I put in without hurting myself or burning out? When this shows up in the reverse, I feel like some of you are wanting to make this change for good reasons, but I feel like maybe you have to be careful about the way that you go about it. The answer is not to do so in self-deprecation. Don't approach this change out of a place of self-hate. Don't say, I need to, if your goal is for like losing weight or something, right? Don't say that you want to make this change because I'm so fat and ugly, right? Don't say that about yourself. You need to reframe why you are doing this. It's not because about your weight. It's about, I want to feel healthy. I want to feel good. Eating this icky food makes me feel icky. Just for an example. Wanting to cut this addiction out of my life. I want to do it because I deserve a happy space and I deserve to feel good about myself and I deserve to not have a substance control my life or my reality. So just make sure, Cancer, that you are approaching this from a healthy mental standpoint, that you are making sure that you are not doing so from a place of punishment, from a place of judgment for yourself, and that you are, doing it for the right reasons. Because like I said with that Hierophant in reverse, your why is important. Because your why is what is going to pull you through this and keep you grounded in what it is that you're doing. Self-deprecation, self-harm, self-hate is never the answer. The opposite, self-love, compassion, and understanding for yourself is actually the way to see real, lasting change. Cutting a lot of the shame out of the equation is really important because that shame is what keeps us in this space. The shame is what tells us that we need to go back into this box because we don't deserve good things. And that's not true. Self-compassion, understanding that you can't go back and change the past, that things need to move forward, and that you, any second of any day, can choose a new path for yourself, and you can do so from a place of love and not judgment. Your card for Thursday here is the Magician in reverse. And again, this is that self-doubt about being able to manifest this thing. Some of you may be coming up on some roadblocks. I mean, we had the Fool. We had this idea of playfulness and of, allowing yourself to be free. And it feels like you've just come up on a bunch of roadblocks, the judgment of others, the judgment of self, and, doing things out of a sense of self-deprecation. And the Magician is self-doubt. So I feel like you're coming up on a lot of these roadblocks, but these roadblocks are not here to keep you from achieving this thing, Cancer. Rather, these roadblocks are showing up because it is your opportunity to do something different, right? These roadblocks are showing up because it's telling you, hey, these are things that we have to deal with before we can see this change. We want this change to happen, so that means that we need to make a change and we need to do something different. We can't keep doing the things that we've been doing because, you've probably heard that quote before about the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So Cancer, how many times have you gone through this cycle or told yourself never again? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go back to that person. I'm not going to use this substance, or I'm not going to talk bad about myself anymore. I'm not going to binge and, purge or whatever the case is here, Cancer. You've told yourself, I think some of you for sure have told yourself before that this won't happen again. But you end up back in that shame cycle of, I don't deserve good things. I don't deserve change. I don't deserve to feel good about myself. Thinking about all the ways that you're, a bad person, or just that, doubting your ability to do this, doubting your ability to make this change. The magician is the manifester. The magician is the alchemist. This is the person who makes changes the very nature of something. This is the person who takes, dust and turns it into gold, water into wine. I say this every time this card comes up. This is the person who transforms the very nature of an object and turns it into something else, dirt into gold. You're turning your dirt, Cancer, into gold. And this magician in reverse is saying that you're doubting your ability to do this. You're doubting your ability to make this change, to cut this toxicity out of your life. But Cancer, you have the opportunity, you have the option to do this, and you can do it. These roadblocks are not showing up because they are trying to stop you from making this change. It's actually your opportunity to double down on the why you are making this change. It's your opportunity to really prove to yourself the reason why and the power behind doing it. On Friday here, you have the moon card in reverse, Cancer. So the moon, now, this always confused me a little bit. This is just like a little side tangent, but the moon, the luminary, the moon, the planet, it's not really a planet. It's like a moon. But the moon in astrology is aligned with Cancer, but the moon in the tarot cards for the major arcana is aligned with Pisces. So that always threw me off. That was always a little weird to me, but whatever. That's just some weird tangent. But the moon in reverse, this is that deep dive of looking into the darkness within. The moon, they say that we only see the one side of the moon. We never see the dark side of the moon. Because the way that our rotation works, we only always see the one side illuminated. And so the dark side of the moon, Cancer, this is something deep within that you never show other people. This is the where the shame lies. This is where all of the hurt, all of the shame, all of the dark, dirty thoughts about ourselves. This is the shadow. This is where all of this stuff lies. And you see it in this card here that there's this iceberg that this person is sitting on. And the iceberg, they say that you can only see the top 10% of an iceberg and that the other 90% is below water, that there's so much more that you can't see. And Cancer, you are the iceberg. There is only a very small portion of yourself that is above this water, that people can see, that people around you can recognize. There's a quote that is people will never know the real you. Everybody has a different version of you built within their mind based on their experiences with you, based on their opinions of you, but they will never know the 100% you because only you can know you, because there's so much hidden inside, so much going on within the depths of yourself that they will never understand, simply because, they're not you. They're not you. And Cancer, sometimes we have to confront these darker pieces of ourselves. The moon in reverse is saying that there is this resistance to confronting this darkness, confronting this shadow. So Cancer, you may be resistant to confronting your shadow in this case. You may be, some of you may not even be aware of what exactly it is your shadow contains. You would rather focus on only the top, 10% of yourself. You'd rather focus on the light stuff, the stuff right at the very top. But really, you have to get down into the depths. You have to look at the other stuff because it is all you. Regardless of whether or not we really can't, or we really shouldn't even place a value system on this, because it's it's not saying that you're only 10% good, Cancer, right? The whole iceberg is you. And there's no shame other than what you put into it. So you have the option, the opportunity to remove the shame. A lot of you have to take that really tough, deep dive within the soul and confront your shadow work. I really feel like that groundhog spirit, time to let go. So I feel like a lot of you are, there's a balance between push and pull, letting go and holding on. And I feel like some of you are holding on so tightly to this idea of a separate you, right? I feel like a lot of you have this idea in your mind of like who you think you should be, who you want to be. You've built up this person or this other you so much to a point of perfection that this person is not attainable. You can't be a perfect person. We're all human beings. We're all imperfect, and that is exactly what makes us human. And you can't live up to this expectation of perfection that you've set. And I think that, you know, it's really easy to look at these people or these inspirations for being good people and think that I have to act this way. I have to act a certain way or think a certain way or be a certain way. You build up a persona that's so separate from what is actually achievable or attainable that it ends up becoming an impossible distance or valley between that. So I think what you need to let go of here, Cancer, is you need to let go of the expectation that you can be this person. You need to allow yourself to be playful on this experience. It's a rediscovering of yourself, really. I mean, rediscovering what your life looks like without this, what your life can look like without this thing controlling it, whether it be a person or a substance or whatever it is that is bothering you right now, Cancer, that you want to cut out of your life. Trust in the magic. I mean, trust in the magic of transformation. Trust that, you know, you are on this journey for a reason. You are being brought through this path because there's something that you need to learn from it. And, you know, that learning can be something that only you benefit from, or it can be something that, you know, changes you so completely that you want to share it with the rest of the world, where the world can benefit from your story and your transformation, Cancer. Let's move on because this reading is already getting way too long. We have on Saturday, following the moon in reverse, Cancer, you have the Hermit card. So even though the moon in reverse is this resistance of the darkness, the Hermit is the deep dive. This is the moment where you have to look at your reflection. This is the solo journey of the self. The Hermit is on a journey of knowledge. This is the person who doesn't find the answers within the tradition of life and the world, and they don't find the answers that they're looking for within contemporary beliefs. They don't find the answer within books, and so they have to go on a solo journey. You know, they have to take everything that they've learned from this path and they have to forge their own path, and they have to go move forward by themselves so that they can find the answer. This is like, just because like I was raised in the Christian church, so like I have this story in my head of like Jesus going into the desert for 40 days, right? This is that isolation. You know, he went into the desert for 40 days for, you know, to reach connection with God. And that's basically what this hermit is it's going into this isolation, taking yourself on this deep spiritual journey that only you can go on. It doesn't matter how many good people you have in your life that give you their roadmap of how to do it, because you have to make your own roadmap. You have to forge your own path and find your own way. And you do that by looking in the mirror. You see that this hermit is like looking deep into the mirror of the reflection of the self. Evaluating who you are, who you want to be, who you are projecting. We have these like layers of the self that, you know, we want to embrace sometimes. But really taking a look deep in at who you are truly on the inside. And not just from a place of shame, you know, not looking at yourself in a piece by piece place of shame, but looking at yourself as a holistically, right? As the whole piece, and not just as the bad piece of you that you're trying to cut out like a tumor, right? Your very last card for the week here, Cancer, is the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is literally holding the Ace of Swords here. The Knight of Swords is someone who is ready to get to work, ready to do the work. They are ready to wield that sword. And if you see this card here, this person is literally wholly focused on the sword within their hand. So, Cancer, you have to stay focused on the why. You have to stay focused on the reason behind it. The reason is going to be what confirms your willpower, what reinforces your willpower to see this thing done for yourself. Because you want this thing gone. You want to cut this part out. And I think that, you know, cutting that piece out is like, it's what you want, but I think that we gotta figure out first, where does it end? Where does it start? Because you can't just cut half of it out, right? It'll regrow. It'll come back. You have to cut it out at the root so that you can make sure that this thing is actually gone. And I think that, you know, we can get so caught up in trying to cut the icky parts out of ourselves that we end up focusing on that, and we forget to celebrate the pieces within ourselves that are good too. I think we get so focused on attaining perfection that we forget that we need to give our attention to feeding and watering the positive parts within ourselves. So Cancer, before we end the reading, I pulled another oracle card here from my Universe Has Your Back deck. I wanted to give you a message from the universe of positivity and affirming that, you know, the universe does have your back, showing you the ways the universe can support you. Your card that you got, Cancer, was I surrender to a power greater than me. So Cancer, it is a time of surrender. I mean, literally, time to let go and trust in the magic. You need to let go. You need to surrender to the magic, to a power greater than you. I think that, Cancer, I feel like, you know, you really just want this thing to be done. You want this thing to be out of your life. And instead of going about it, of focusing on trying to take all of these icky pieces out to be perfect, you need to trust in the magic. You need to surrender to a greater power and focus on positivity, focus on your heart, your love, the love of people around you, the journey itself, honestly. And have fun. Be playful with that sandpiper spirit. Be playful. Don't just get so caught up in the negative things that you're trying to get rid of. Keep an open mind and an open heart about the positive things. So anyway, Cancer, that is where I'm going to leave you for this week. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you found this message when you needed it and that it was able to provide you some guidance along your journey, along this path of life. Thank you so much for being here, Cancer, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week.